Welcome, everyone, to probably the driest edition, in more ways than one, of the Brew Crew podcast. I am Matt, and I am coming to you from an undisclosed location. So, all I've got to drink is really water. I've got some other like Gatorade and type of stuff, but there seemed to be enough interest when I was like, oh, I could talk about 30 minutes about water. Hopefully, it's not water. I'm going to try to save most of the beer related stuff for when I return in less than a month to the mothership. JT and friends, Svil, Chuggalos, Stev, Randy Orton have been doing a yeoman's effort. Caterade have been doing a exceptional job of carrying the load while I'm gone. I know JT says that he doesn't like doing it by himself, but come on, guys, we all know sometimes we do it better by ourselves. 30 minutes of material. God, I could do 30 minutes on water, but no one wants to listen to me, much less myself. I wanted to say when I was getting this up, because I didn't think I was going to record it all when I was over here at the undisclosed location, was there was some lag in the recording, and I was going backwards. I was like, if I can't get this figured out, well, so then I closed the games I was playing, and I closed the internet browser because I was doing a little bit of work. Not while at work, go figure. I just can't get away from it, I guess. And I was like, I can figure it out. But then I was like, people are used to seeing like artwork and wrestling related stuff and whatever when I do my solo shows. So I decided to put up some wrestling related stuff that I got here from, Victoria and D'Lo Brown and Scotty Too Hottie. A lot of people were excited to see him. And then some artwork from, I picked one from my daughter. And so put that up there, and that was quite a good drawing, except she put me and my wife at the same height. I think we got about, but she obviously put her taller than her little sister, which it was interesting because you would think you get the same, but either way, better than I could probably even do at 40 years old. That's right, folks, I turned 40 in this undisclosed dry location. And when I say dry location, and I'm sorry, JT has offered numerous times, and he's been more than accommodating. He's like, we'll figure it out. And so JT and I talked, I think a couple weeks ago, either shortly before or shortly after my birthday. But there is alcohol at this location. The unfortunate part about the alcohol at the location is there's no recording devices allowed near there, which is good. The limit is 2, which is good, because that's what JT and I do on a typical show. But it's way past my bedtime, the availability on that stuff, and you can't take it back. So I can't take a camera in there, and they won't let me leave with said drinks. So that's why I'm stuck here on the water. And typically, because I drink so much here because it's so hot and so dry, when I get back to the room, when I get back from the gym, the last thing I want to do is drink, because then I have to get up in the middle of the night, I have to go take a piss, and then I come back. So I've mastered the art of dehydrating myself a little bit, where I don't have to get up, get dressed, and go to the bathroom. So it's catch-22. So I want to drink, because it is a drinking podcast. It's a dry drinking episode today, but hey, we'll make it happen. I have so many questions, so many comments, and it's awesome to see both JT getting asked when the next week episode is going to be, and the viewership has actually gone up. So that tells me that people are excited to see just JT. People are excited to see just JT and a guest, and people are not excited to see Matt, which is good. I'm not surprised by any of those stats, and I think that is the likelihood of each of them in order. I think I did that in the right order. Also, I wrote no notes. This is completely, I feel naked here. Again, I have notes, but I just wanted to save them for the mothership when I get back. There's a couple of questions I want to pose, a couple of situational things. I know I've been posting comments on YouTube, and the last couple of episodes, the commentary has been lively on YouTube, which we sure appreciate that. I still can't figure out what I'm going to title this one, when I write the description or whatever. Now, if I could just get JT to remember when he does post it, to throw it over to our friends on Facebook that are prompted on Facebook that may not be subscribed and getting the alerts on YouTube, that might help us out. What else is different? So the mustache is way different. I was told that it's either the mustache or divorce papers when I get home. So we'll see. Obviously, the mustache. Fun story about that. When I came back from an undisclosed location in 2019, I did it where I got home during the normal workday and school day. So I was tired because it was like a 12-hour drive. And so I just was like, I'm going to take a nap. And so I get home, and Stacy is the bedroom's darked out. And Stacy, before she comes over, all she does is this, and she goes, "Oh hell no!" And then walks out of the bedroom. So that was pretty funny. So I don't think that'll happen. Maybe on the way back, I'll get rid of it or whatever. I like to think that it's coming in fuller than it normally does, but nah, it's still just an optical illusion of no hair in the middle. Um, I would say 3/4 of the individuals that can grow mustaches are participating in this Sisyphean task of trying to make our mustaches look good. There's a couple of guys that are Tom Selleck esque or Sam Elliott, and it looks quite good. Gosh, outside of that, no, just a lot of working every day. It makes the time go by, though. Really, honestly, what else are you going to do in an undisclosed location? I always tell people that don't have work every day. Find a hobby. Find something to pass the time, whether it be the gym or other activities. And there's a ton of that around here. So if you ever say you're bored, you're not trying hard enough. Oh, goodness gracious. What else can I talk about? What else can I talk about? I don't know. A lot of it is beer related that you guys care about. We're in the midst of the baseball season. The Brewers are off to a hot start. The Cubs are playing, I think, baseball. I think that's what's called. They did get us the opening game of the year. What an interesting game. How cold that was. And what an odd, especially where a lot of our listening people are up north in Minnesota and Wisconsin. I don't know why I have to look up. A lot of late snow this year. I know down in Ohio, we had a couple of lawn mows in so far at this point. So recording this on the 6th. I still don't know how how the upload speeds are going to be. I haven't done quite a bit. I've done a few video teleconferences that have gone fine, but so an odd winter, elongated winter. I will say that I've told a lot of people here that were like, "Oh, you do a podcast," and I go, "Yeah, 5 years, 5.5 years actually. This upcoming August, September will be our sixth, going into our 6th year. It depends on how you count it." And people are like, "Oh, what do you talk about?" And I go, "Well, it depends who's asking." I was like, "Do you like sports?" Because I go, "We'll cover that," but there's other people that don't like sports, so then we typically focus on beer. But then earlier fans that might be in the same room or having the same conversations, they're like, tell them what your podcast name was for the first 100 episodes or the first couple of years. So then we have a chuckle over that. Because you got to laugh over that stuff, grow, evolve, or get the hell out of the way, so to speak. Oh goodness, I'm prompt to this stuff. Again, this stuff comes good. I don't want to steal too much thunder for my return. The May 1st episode is where I'm aiming for my return. So that will be the first Monday in May. I will be around and back, but I want to make that, I want to set that flagpole. I want to set that expectation for myself and for the Chuggalos, and then for the ratings to take a nosedive. I'm going to blame it on, the weather's getting nicer and people aren't listening to podcasts, they're outside or whatever. So be prepared for that excuse. I'm already setting the table for it. Oh, what else is good? So people have asked me a couple of times, how many drinks has Matt had at the undisclosed location? I've had 3, 2 one night and 1 the other night. I've played it a lot closer to the chest. Again, working every day. I will say, if I have to work the next day, the last thing I want to do is have a drink at like 9 o'clock and then get up early and then, feel like crap and then, hobble my way. So I'm pretty much a stick in the mud, and that gets pointed out to me on a regular basis here. But I am nothing but if a creature of routine. And I know JT's chuckling at himself, or, being prompted to chuckle by other people. I like the routine, what you find what works for you, and then go with that. You don't want to deliver a bad product, because the product I deliver, it matters to people, and it's a fairly important product. So I got to make sure that I'm at the top of my game. I'm witty and quick, and say interesting things. Bring the good trivia, because I do trivia here every day for all of my peers and cohorts. Oh goodness, what else? I mean, I could talk about WrestleMania. What a whirlwind week we had. We probably had the greatest WrestleMania in the last decade. And then immediately the next night, which is always the biggest Raw of the year, it's one of the must see pieces of programming: WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and the Raw after WrestleMania. And boy, what a fart noise! It was like you had this glorious meal. You had an amazing dessert, or whatever, after dinner drink, grasshopper, old fashioned, and then, or it wouldn't be an old fashioned, it'd be something else on the tip of my tongue. And then you go, and then all of a sudden, like, Aunt Edna's sitting in your favorite chair, and you're like, what the? And you just let it happen. And that's what, like, Raw was. You can follow the news or whatever. I think the sale is fine. That's not going to matter to anything. But these are things that would cause me to drink if I had the rigid or unrigid flexibility to be able to do that. Uh, Man, 11 minutes. Usually it's. I was like, man, I've been talking for like 15 or whatever. That is not the case. Oh goodness. Yeah. Outside of that, people. I know people that have gone completely dry here, and after like the first week or two, or like if you have a stressful day or whatever is people's coping mechanism for it, people are like, oh, I could use a drink, but not so much this time. I know probably five or six people here that have gone completely dry, and just like talking with them, I'm like, do you miss it? And they're like, most of them will say no. Most of them, though, I will say the common feature between them will say that they're wine drinkers. They're not hard alcohol or beer drinkers. So maybe there's a common characteristic there between what you define as what your moment or what your vice is. But again, there's other coping mechanisms here. We have almost an endless supply of sports drink, be it Gatorade or G2 or any of those. The military favorite energy drinks, Rippets. I wish I had a couple of cans to show. Maybe I'll keister some and bring some home. They're little 8 ounce cans, so it's almost like a baseball. I know Red Bull is 8.4, but that's more of a cylinder. This is more like a fat, like a tuna can. A can of Red Bull had a baby. It would be short and stout like that, and you can almost palm it. How pleasurable that to palm it. But 8 ounces, you're like for me personally, and this would go the same way with beers. Beers, pint cans or like silos or stovepipes or anything like that, excellent. But like, man, if they start getting like a beer, there's some smaller beers that we've had, like 1050. I know they made like the higher grab stuff, like the 16. Eight is just it's right up there with warm beer. I know it's in vogue for some people. It's not in vogue for this guy. So I just want a clear. Let's keep it at 12. Let's not go that way. And again, it's not too common outside of the energy drinks. 5 Hour Energy being kind of in that class, but just the little bottles, just because it's mostly vitamins and other proprietary stuff, I'm guessing. Oh, what else? Just drinking a ton of water, living the good life here, living the clean life. Definitely making up for it. I always joke that I polluted the temple for a good 4 months leading up to departing for the undisclosed location. Like uh, with our advent calendar, which again I'm looking forward to, don't get me wrong, but there are times where it feels belabored to do that in addition to other beers. And I know, like, I'm not selling believe me, leading up to it is a lot of excitement. The aftermath, you're like, oh, I can't wait to do that again. But everyone will tell you, in all honesty, in the participants that we had this year, that they were looking forward to a day without a drink. This just happens to be an extended period of time with that for me. The interesting thing though is, even if you just have your one, even if you just break your calendar, and I do think the calendar is best served by doing 24 and not 12. Some other calendars just do 12. Just again, you get that variety or whatever. And for us, podcast material, it just gives us more conversation. And again, with 24, you have the opportunity to be focused on the diversity of the offerings, and not 12. You're just twice as many. Harder, better is more. Um, so that's good. So that's something to look forward to. I got asked what beer I was looking forward to when I was going to get home, I think that's podcast material with JT. I am looking forward to, oh, I could talk about this for a while. So JT and I, when I was in the hotels, we were talking like, oh, JT really kicked it off. All the credit goes to JT. He's like, hey, when you get home, Matt, I've got one of these waiting for you. And awesome, very. I was like, well, I can't be, I can't not reciprocate. So my car is up in Minnesota, so I couldn't store anything in my car because it was going to explode. Even the higher grab stuff, I didn't want to risk it. And my office is limited by the amount of space where I can store stuff. Like I have a locker or whatever, but I have clothes that I keep in there. And it's not a full locker. It's really like this locker, but it's got like 4 shelves in it. So it's like it's almost like that. It's like a quad. Oh yeah, I got some Pepto Bismol. Always important when you're traveling. So anyways, it's a quad. So I took over 2 of those quads, so I could fit one of my boxes of beverages in one quad, and then above my desk. We all have those desks, with the overhead, and you can flip up and, keep stuff in there. And I got one box in there. So one box is purely JT stuff. And, we kind of talked about this for the episode when I get back, how we're going to exchange or whatever, because the conversation could be there and we could fill an hour and not even crack a beer. So anyways, I've got these boxes. So when I get back to my office, I'm going to have to exchange stuff anyways and, pick up the keys for Betty and get those boxes. But anyways, I got to get that stuff back, and it's exciting because I can probably name 1 or 2 of those beers, and we'll talk more about it on that episode, on my return episodes. But it's going to be like purchasing them all over again without the negative feedback of the cost, because I can't remember most of them, and again I have 2 normal size boxes that are pretty full of either booze or beer that has to come home with me. Stuff for the cellar, stuff for JT, stuff for other people. So that's kind of a fun thing to look forward to that I know that's waiting for me. Because when I last deployed in 2019, I bought some Tavor. And it was awesome because Tavor still shipped to Ohio and still paid the taxes. And I still don't understand the relationship that happened there. But I would go to bed or wake up and Tavor would pop up. And Tavor is an awesome app. It's just they don't ship to Ohio anymore. And I was buying stuff. And had I thought of it, I don't think they ship to Wisconsin because I'm driving through Wisconsin on the way back. I could have picked up some stuff. I have a rather full car though, and the length of the deployment. But I could have had that opportunity, but this way I have a little bit of that opportunity. It's just the beer's already bought, because I guess not having Tavor saves me a little bit of money. I spent a little bit of money in 19 and then had it shipped to Chuggalo Mikey's dad's house. And then I got some comments or whatever. And there were some pictures that I shared or whatever, because he had to bring it up to deer camp because the deployment butted right up against cabin time. And that was awesome to go through some of that. That hijinks, like setting it all up and, having to save it again. It couldn't be stored outside because some of that stuff would have exploded. So having to bring it in. But, having a man in his 60s, lug around these heavy boxes because his wife was staying at home so she could sign for it. And that, again, one of the pains in the butt, my wife really has the difficult job because she's got two individuals at home that don't listen to her. Like, people here, believe it or not, actually listen to me. And but at home she's dealing with the kids or whatever, so it'd be like, oh, I'd like to order her some wine or whatever. But the problem with alcohol delivery, and I guess, is it more of a problem or is it an unintended issue, is somebody has to be home to sign for that stuff. Well, if you're not home, like let's say FedEx does a lot of the wine services that are in the Dayton area, so they typically deliver between 11 and 1. My wife's not home, so then I'm costing her a trip where she's going to have to go to the FedEx center. And then the gift becomes a hassle. Hey, I'm thinking about you. And, then when they're grumbling and driving 35 minutes to the distribution center to pick it up, then, it tarnishes it a little bit. So I wish there was more deliveries, or you could take it hey, I understand, and again, it's there to protect both parties. It's like having an expensive TV or a piece of electronic delivered, and signature service is required. and then all of a sudden a porch pirate takes it and was like, well, you're just trying to get an extra, doohickey or, doo-wop or something like that. I'm just going to make up words. Make sure that's not your favorite. All right. I think that's all I got. I got to a solid 20 minutes. I intermingled some beer in there. Hopefully this doesn't take forever to upload. But again, I'm looking forward to returning. I'm looking forward to see what JT still has on tap. As far as surprises, shenanigans, and chicanery. It's been great so far. Again, and if you're one of the 5 or 6 people that participate in this escapade because of me, I appreciate you. Hopefully this satiates your thirst a little bit for Matt. If nothing else, this can just be something you skip on your daily journey. But I hope all is well with you, and behave. Cheers.